Welcome to Silicon Valley Asian Business Talk.
Hello, everyone. This is Roger Chen from University of San Francisco Center for Business Studies and Innovation in Asia Pacific. First, Joan, we want to thank you for supporting and joining our interview program. Would you please briefly introduce yourself?
Sure, Roger. Thank you for inviting me. It's good to be here. So my name is June Yang. A little bit about myself. Most recently, I was at Google Cloud for the past 5 years. And first, I was responsible for the compute infrastructure, AI infrastructure, and block storage business at Google Cloud, which is the largest business unit within Google Cloud, with multiple billions of dollars of revenue annual basis. The second part of Google Cloud, I was asked to take over the AI business. So I was responsible for the whole portfolio of AI products coming out of Google Cloud, as well as industry solutions that's applying AI and other advanced technology to various specific industry sectors as well. Prior to that, I was at VMware for almost 10 years and did a variety of roles and responsibility over there. I was responsible for vSphere business, which is a flagship business for VMware for a number of years. And I also had the opportunity to do in-house startup, and that's jointly sponsored by both VMware and Dell and so forth. And so it's been great to kind of running and scaling different business inside these corporations. And currently, I'm on the board of several corporations, both public and private. So I think certainly being able to innovate and scale businesses are really, some of the key discussions we have at the boardroom as well.
Wisdom on balancing short-term profit and future growth.
You have been very experienced in managing some major business units, at Google and at VMware. So naturally, in your responsibility, you need to develop product development pipelines, things like that. And also the portfolios of these different products. Mm-hmm. So maybe you can share with us your kind of lessons and wisdoms in developing these pipelines and portfolios. How do you balance issues such as a short-term versus long-term, and radical innovations versus incremental improvement of the products, so on and so forth.
Yeah, that's a great question. That's certainly something I've spent a lot of time thinking and doing as well, right? So I think about a portfolio, right? When you have, products, when you have a company and revenue that's in multiple billions of dollars, right? You're constantly thinking about, okay, where's their next growth path? What's my next act? What's my next growth engine, right? So I think about my portfolio really in terms of 3 horizons. Horizon 1 is my run rate business. That's my cash cow business that's generating the majority of the revenue today. Horizon 2 is really the growth business, is where the business that could become my next growth engine and so forth. And then Horizon 3, these are kind of more future bets where I'm exploring different technologies and different product ideas and so forth, right? So I think, within a larger organization, I think one of the first things you need to do is, as a leader, is really thinking about the resource allocation. How much resource do I allocate to Horizon 1 versus 2 versus 3? That obviously varies from companies as well as kind of where what state of the business it's in and so forth, right? And I think, and then, then the next thing to think about within, especially within Horizon 2 and Horizon 3, right? How do I sort of allocate within that? And, I don't want to do too much, but I don't want to do too little either. I think sometimes I've seen companies that over-rotate, Horizons 3 and 2, what we call the shiny new object kind of a syndrome, where people sort of go gravitate with the shiny new syndrome and really kind of lose sight of the cash cow business, which is actually what's really kind of bringing the revenue and so forth. And likewise, you also see cases where company over-rotate on Horizon 1 because it's a sure bet. You continue to sort of add incremental features, but may not actually return incremental revenue correspondingly, and really ignore the 2 and 3. Then you become, you have really a dry spell. Once the Horizon 1 cash cow business start kind of declining a little bit, you have nothing to pick up on the growth engine. And especially the bigger the business, right? It's even harder to kind of bring up the growth business because if your base is already $5 billion, it's very hard for growth business to catch up to the point that they can actually be able to move the needle. So I think it's really very much art to think through about kind of how you want to allocate resources across different horizons.
I think that's an excellent point. I will kind of get back to some detailed so-called execution questions. I'm so glad you mentioned about three horizon kind of a mindset. Let's kind of focus on the planning side of it. When you kind of you talk about the rotation, over rotation, resource allocation. At the planning phase, do you have any kind of wisdoms? For example, what is the guidelines you tend to follow when you try to balance the rotation of the resource allocations, or kind of just adjust, the different emphasis among these different horizons?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you want to push for kind of a rule of thumb, right? I think because I tend to manage a very large portfolio, more on the billions of dollars in business, right? So the cash cow business, it's big. It's where you really need to spend quite a bit of time. So I would say probably 60-70% of the resources do go to the cash cow business. And then 20 to 30% of the effort kind of goes into the growth business to really try to grow these things, from to 100 million to 500 million and so on. So that takes a while to kind of get there. And then, probably about 10% needs to kind of go into the future bets to explore different ideas in those categories. And I think later in the discussion, we'll talk a little bit more about, how to think about the future bets, when to, not to do too much, but not to do too little either.
Yeah, that's great.
Thank you for watching.